Hey everybody, Glenn Hausman here. Looking forward to having you with us today. Don't worry, Anthony's here. He may be having a little bit of tech problems, but what else is new in my life?
I'm Anthony. Welcome to No Vacancy Live. That's my friend Glenn.
You're watching the #1 show in hospitality.
Hey everybody, Glenn Hausman here, and today is going to be all about the numbers. That's right, we're going to be focusing on what's happening in what markets, what you guys are experiencing out there, and a whole lot more. But before we get into that, hey, don't forget, we got this book over here, The Adapters. Go check it out at theadapters.net. That's right, my name is right there on the side of it. Please go get it. Great conversations and stories with people who are adapting for the fourth age. Though we started this book back in the COVID times, it is so applicable now to absolutely everything and anything you are doing out there with business. Learns how to teach you how to think differently, how to behave differently, how to engage in your career differently. Go check that out at theadapters.net. Additionally, you know what I love? Oh, I'm going for it. Going for this basket right here by good friends over at Ecotech Waste. These baskets will help save the environment. All right, maybe they won't save the environment, but they'll do a little more to help bring a little bit of joy to the environment. And remember, guys, it takes 1,564 Ecotech waste baskets to equal the carbon footprint of just one traditional waste basket. Now, listen, you could go get these on Amazon.com. You could go get them other places, but if you go right now to their website, which is eco-techwaste.com, and tell them No Vacancy sent you, you will save 10%. All right, we're still waiting for Anthony to get his technology together, but we're just going to forge ahead with today's show and bring in two guests. We got our friend, back to the show, Chris Green, CEO of Chesapeake Hospitality. How are you doing, buddy?
Good, Glenn. How are you? Good to see you.
I hope you are buckled up for safety today, because we got Jan Freitag of the CoStar Group here with the numbers, and Anthony is appearing behind the scenes. Let's take a deep, meaningful pause and bring him right in. Anthony, look at you having to switch up tech last second like that, like a champ.
Yeah, my tech, my everything went down for some reason. I don't know why. So we're waiting for it to come back up.
All right. So as I just mentioned, people are starting to jump into the room and participate and all that. Thank you all for being here today. Great to see you. I think, Jan, the best place to start is with you. What's the big headline of the day? Because as we were joking around before we got on the show, the last time you were here, I think you were talking about last night's room sold was a total of 9 across the entire country. Hopefully we've reached at least double digits by this time. What's the headline?
And that's exactly what it felt like. The good news is that things are good. They're not great, but things are certainly good. All the indicators we're looking at are looking up. So much so that if you look at year-over-year percent change, your mind's a little spinning, right? Because last week's RevPAR was up 255% or something.
Right.
You know, how do you sort of compute with that? So what we started to do is look at the data compared to the same week, 2 years ago, and just look at 2019 as sort of the high watermark, but saying, how are we doing compared to that? The good news is, the occupancies continues to increase, the properties that were closed continue to reopen, and, overall, more vaccines just means more travel demand on the leisure side for sure. We saw that very, very healthy spring break demand in Florida and in Texas, and we're seeing some signs of life on the corporate side. If you look at, the Wednesday night occupancies and the TSA throughput numbers, since March 26th, over 1 million people every day were checked by a TSA agent. So, obviously people are back flying. The thing that's missing, and Chris can probably talk about that a little bit more, is, what's going on with group.
Yeah, we are a full month into 1 million plus people going through TSA. Anthony, I like that other look you had before. It was very 1990s, every single rap video I saw back there with looking down at the camera. But Chris, Jan is making some good points. Are you feeling at your hotels what he's reporting?
Yeah, we are. I will second what Jan said. Looking at the STAR reports, it's really difficult when you see 1,000% changes. But the one I've been keying in is actually the RevPAR. I mean, the ADR change. We've been seeing good, solid ADR change, and that has to do with a minor amount of business travel, minor, coming back, and the ability to start pushing back some other travelers into the mix that were really not just the base travelers. So now that we're building some leisure travelers on top of the crew and other business that we had in our buildings, we are seeing rates start to expand. So I think I told you 2 weeks ago when we were at our hotel here in Florida that we really felt the energy finally coming back. I know we've had a lot of false starts, but this feels really solid because it's continued week over week gains. And I will tell you that our EVP of sales sent out a memo to our ownership base today, and we've had 7 out of 8 weeks of exceeding budgeted group booking goals in the portfolio. So I mean, we're seeing some real activity on the group side now.
Anthony, are you ready?
Yeah, that's great. And before all this happened, a revenue manager was critical, and the sales manager was always important. But now a sales manager, I mean, if you're not an A+ sales manager today, you're going to be left behind, because right now it's all about getting the business that's out there and really trying to take your share. And I would imagine the sales manager is busier than ever.
Yeah, I will add that when I had the good fortune to be with Chris down in Jacksonville a couple of weeks ago, I mentioned this 2 weeks ago, there was a great event celebrating the retiring of a Marine there after 30 years. And the military part aside, it was just so great to see friends and family coming together again as if we were partying like it was 2019. So that was really a refreshing sight to see out there. So Jan, when it comes to these groups out there, what is behind the increasing level of confidence that's driving people to finally pull the trigger to book these events?
Vaccines.
That is certainly one. I think every CEO and CFO and head of HR is sort of like, yes, we want people out there, but let's get vaccinated, 2 shots plus 2 weeks, or 1 shot plus 2 weeks. Let's get people in a safe headspace. But I think the other part is that we've all found that this kind of works, if you want to transfer knowledge, you want to transfer information. Anthony, lecture me about how to increase EBITDA. I can sit here, you can talk to me, that's fine. But if it's about building culture, building team spirit, building cohesion, getting together in a room, getting together in a restaurant or in a bar, just can't be substituted by this. So
I'm having that trouble now. I'm having that trouble now with building my team. Like, we're all very close, but it's hard. It's really hard not to be together.
And I think that's what, when you talked about the Marine retiring, yeah, you could do it over Zoom, but that's not really the point. Like, the point is to get together. And I think we will see 2 types of groups, on the corporate side. There'll be people saying, hey, if it's just knowledge transfer, maybe we continue to do this, online. But if it's about getting together, and sales, having a sales kickoff, or having a marketing meeting, or having a strategy meeting, it's just better to be in the room. And Chris, I would assume that if you look at who's booking, you can probably shed some color on that.
Yeah, we are. I mean, we're seeing a lot of companies that are literally just coming back together. They're having either quarterly kickoff meetings, things that you just can't transfer the energy that, like Jan's talking about. I can tell you personally that the day that we were together in Jacksonville, Glenn, and my assistant Celeste that I've worked with for a long time knows, my energy level changes by being able to be with my people. I mean, I like seeing you guys and talking about the numbers.
Right.
We're hospitality people, and hospitality is about being with and around people. And until we get back to that, we're not going to feel whole. So we are seeing that. I mean, the retirement parties, the weddings are going crazy right now. Family reunions are booking. So a lot of that social, military, educational, religious, and fraternal type stuff is booking. Corporate is smaller, but they're still, and they want to be thoughtful about, social distancing and everything. But Jan, what you said was perfect. I mean, now that we're getting people that have shots that are past their 2-week post shots, they're ready to go, and they're hitting the road. So it's exciting time.
So I'm married already, but if I was going to get married and I was going to come to you and say, give me a Saturday night in August or in September, do you have anything available? Because I'm hearing that there's just a lot of pent-up demand.
I mean, probably not in any of our, more open markets right now. Some of the ones that are still beginning to open, Pennsylvania and others, probably. But frankly, I mean, Florida, we're booked in the fall. Things are coming back. And I really think that you're going to see, I mean, I'm counting on it, but we're going to see those numbers we wanted to see to get to that 35% down or whatever the global forecast is. for the year, we're going to have to run up 75, 80, 90% in the third and fourth quarter. So
what's the busy right now? If you had to pick a city, what's the busiest city right now with bookings?
For me?
Yeah, for your company.
Probably Ocean City. I mean, not Ocean City, Atlantic City.
Atlantic City. Wow.
Atlantic City.
Well, you booked a huge event there the last time we had you on. You were
unbelievable. That room, that hotel's 1,200 rooms. It's got a lot of space to spread out, and people know about it, and it is packed. I mean, we are really doing well. So.
Wow, that's surprising. I didn't expect you to say Atlantic City.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, that's really fantastic because who would have thought, of all places, Atlantic City? Do you think that has more to do with the space available in the hotel, the fact that it's theoretically a resort environment, or something else? Just all of those?
No, that's all of it. The space. I mean, we got 250,000 square feet of usable space, so there's a lot of space to spread out.
What do you think about outdoor? What do you think about outdoor corridor hotels? Do you think that's just a trend for the pandemic, or do you think you're going to start seeing those come back into the fold?
I mean, this is probably a whole nother development show, but I mean, I think that there's a space for them. People have been turning those into unique boutique hotels. There's one out near the lodging conference. I think that's going to be a thing, but I think as far as using outdoor corridors because of the pandemic, I don't think that's a trend.
I don't think you're going to see a major brand being launched saying, "Hey, we got exterior corridors." I think that was the 1950s. I think.
Hey, are you making fun of my idea?
I mean, I'm just saying, I wish you well and good luck with fundraising.
It's funny you guys should say that. On yesterday's show, where we had design expert Mike Sumi on of Sumi Design Works, he was saying that all the conversation about particular COVID-related protocols have essentially ceased. People still want clean rooms, but all the bells and whistles that we were hearing in the last year about COVID are gone. Jan, that's probably part of the reason why people are going to have a passing fancy with exterior corridor hotels.
I'm not sure, though. I think this is going to be my new room key,
Right.
And I think COVID accelerated that. This is going to be how I connect to the front desk, how I connect to get my second set of towels, how I'm going to check in and out of the hotel. So I think we're going to run digitally a lot meaner, going forward. So I agree on the sanitation thing. I think we always want it to be clean, and I think we gave guests like these tangible service clues by saying, "Hey, this is locked. This is, this door has not been opened by anybody else prior to you." Maybe that goes away, but I think the digital transformation is here and here to stay.
Absolutely. We completely agree with that. Now, Jan, you brought up, you sent me some information so I could have a clue what we were going to maybe talk about today. And one of the most interesting to me is the markets that still have double-digit closure rates. Maybe I don't want to spoil the headlines for you. Why don't you give us a little understanding of what's going on with hotels that are still closed and what context that means for everyone else?
I mean, you guys had a super cool show from Times Square the other day, and Anthony, I just had to chuckle. You're talking about like the 3-cart Monty guys taking you to the cleaners.
I think his computer crashed again. But yeah, that's because everyone got taken by the 3-cart Monty guys in the 70s.
Reminded me of I was in town for 24 hours. The very first time I was in America, in New York City, and man, I ran right into it. And he said he only took me for $20. If I had $100, I would have given that guy $100 because I was so sure that I knew where that was.
This is what happens when you're not raised a New Yorker, Jan.
I'm fresh off the boat, man. So look, what we saw is, and Chris can probably talk about that. With the lack of grooves, the downtown super tanker hotel, 600 rooms, 12 elevator banks, 100,000 square feet of meeting space, we're really suffering. Mm-hmm. And so what that means then is in a bunch of markets, whatever, Chicago, New York, and a bunch of other ones, there are just a lot of closed properties. Now, we like to say temporarily closed. Now, a lot of other people are saying, no, they're closed permanently. And my counter to that is always, they're closed permanently until they're not, until the new owner comes in and tells the bank, "Hey, I give you the mortgage plus $1. Let me take it off your hand, and I can make this work. Maybe it used to be a full service hotel with 5 outlets. Maybe we'll make it a limited service hotel. Who knows? I think we're going to look at some different operating models. But I think what the properties that are temporarily closed, which in the US is still like 2% or so of all the rooms, but it totally skews big box upper upscale, top 25 markets. We're going to see over time, as there's light, as Chris said, groups are coming back. We're going to see a lot more of those reopen.
Excellent. Anthony?
It seems like every single person I know has booked a vacation. The only people that haven't booked a vacation is the Melchiori family.
Well,
we haven't either over here.
Yeah, it seems like everybody. My kids are getting vaccinated Thursday. It's like everybody's going on vacation. It's crazy, and I really think you're going to see the last quarter this year numbers that we haven't seen before. And I think business travel, and Chris, you know better than me. You're on the ground every day. I think business travel is going to come back quicker than we anticipate. I really do.
I mean, I don't know. I'll have to defer to Jan. He's got all the numbers. Someday I want to get a key to that vault of all those numbers. I'm a numbers guy, so I would love to get in there. But I'm forecasting the day after Labor Day that we're going to start, not the day, but that week that's when it's going to start. I think we're going to be fully vaccinated or close. And companies are going to say, if you've got your vaccines, we need to get out and sell to our clients and meet our teams, so go. And I think that's when we're going to see the acceleration.
So just a quick plug, as of 8 days ago, all the STR data is in the CoStar platform. So if you're CoStar subscribers, you used to send an email to Melinda here in Hendersonville to get a trend report. Guess what? You can just pull luxury performance in New York or upper upscale hotel in Chicago. You can just pull that report right in the CoStar platform. So
that's pretty awesome.
We're a subscriber.
Jan going ahead and doing a shameless plug before the officially sanctioned shameless plug hour. So,
listen. I'm sure that Cassie, our head of revenue strategy, already knows that. So she just hasn't told me yet. So I'm excited. That's good news.
So what's interesting is, as a frequent guest here, I would imagine that we don't have to subscribe. We'll just be able to have access to it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
You just email me and say, it's Anthony Jan. I need, and then we'll talk about it.
Okay.
You're special. You guys are special.
All right, Jan. I'm keeping you up on that because we're buying hotels right now.
Unfortunately, he made special in a different sense than
No comment.
All right, I don't want to get in trouble with anybody who's extra woke out there, but I will say, Jan, you also have here that there's almost $2 trillion in savings ready to be spent, according to Oxford Economics.
So that is the slide that I use in every single presentation when I go out there. And I say, look, ladies and gentlemen, what we have is pent-up demand. 2 shots plus 2 weeks, people are out there. I just got visited from my in-laws. They're not there to see me, trust me, but we have 2 boys and they're like, haven't seen them in a year, come on over. They hit the road, drove from Connecticut all the way to Tennessee,
Wow.
And can they do that? They have not only the urge to do this, but they have the means. Because American consumers sat at home for a year, Amazon delivered everything that you needed, but you don't need another Peloton. We're all good on Pelotons. We don't need any more stuff. But we couldn't get our experiences.
Honestly, I don't think we need the Peloton we have in the house for as frequently as it's being used. But that's something else.
Jan, it's funny you said that. It's like my wife said, you haven't had an Amazon box in a couple of days. What's going on? I was like, I got all the stuff I need. I think, and I'm ashamed to say it, but I'll just say I've had over 300 packages last year from Amazon.
They love you.
Yeah. It's actually a lot more than that, but I'm embarrassed.
Exactly.
Yeah, the other day my wife is like, "What? Where's the package from Amazon today?" I'm like, "Hey, we're weaning ourselves."
We have everything.
Yeah.
But now what you need, what you want are experiences. And we have all this money saved up and we want to go to the wedding and we want to go to the retirement and we want to go just to hug our grandkids again or parents again, And so Glenn and Anthony, you are late to the game. You've got to book your travel, because a lot of hotels are going to be full when you want to go.
And I'll tell you, this whole handshaking thing, it's like handshakes never coming back. Everybody's shaking my hand.
Yeah, this week was like the week of handshakes. It was like weird. It's like, shouldn't we?
I'm just shaking hands.
Yeah, it just felt to me like, dating when I was like 16 or 17, trying to figure it all out. But, now we're just going in for it. I love it.
Come on, Glenn. Tell the truth. You gave me a hug when you came to Jacksonville.
I did. But I had to think about it for a second because I didn't know what protocol was going to be. And then I was bitching to like, F it, I'm going in,
I think for hotel operators, it's not handshakes, it's all high fives now, because the data looks so good.
Yeah, it's really good.
My name chat are very happy about that. High five.
Yeah, when we went out to dinner the other night, me and Glenn, it wasn't even a thought. It's literally become like it was such a it was so intense and just so unnerving, I guess is the word I'm looking for. Now it's not even a thought. I'm not even like, it's not even in my thought process anymore. It's like, it's gone away that quick. As soon as I got my double vaccination, I'm like, it's just not even coming up in my brain anymore.
Total transformation for Anthony's attitude over there. It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I went just make sure that the other guy is ready. Don't like overwhelm somebody with a bear hug.
Yeah, I went from that New Yorker everybody was talking about, I wrapped myself in saran wrap for a year, but now I'm hugging and kissing and shaking hands.
You mean plastic wrap because they're a national brand and they're not advertising. But anyway, Chris.
No, I was gonna ask Jan, like, how much growth do you see in the focused service and select service, like the roadside, because they've kind of done well compared to the city center. I mean, the acceleration downtown, I mean, they're going to be uneven acceleration, I imagine. So how much is left, though, on the roadside? Or do you think it's all going to fill into the city center first and then kind of blossom together?
Couple of thoughts on that. So number one is, you're absolutely right. Just the math dictates, because they didn't fall as far, that they don't have as much to grow, right? So the RevPAR percent changes, the occupancy percent changes are not going to be as pronounced as the full service, the upper upscale boxes. But that said, I think 2020, I sort of call it the year of the caravan, right? The great caravan. Everybody hopped in their car and drove somewhere. And I think we all rediscovered the road trip in the United States. And I think that while international travel is still going to be curtailed, because we're not quite sure how to get to Italy. Like, how does that actually work? Like, do I need to quarantine 2 weeks in Italy in my hotel? Or do I need vaccination passports or shots or whatever they call those tests are called? So that's a big question mark. So people will continue to look at the United States. And that then means, they may fly somewhere, but you heard that rental cars are really hard to get, So they may we all trained last year for the great road trip. So let's just repeat it. So I would think that there is, continued upside this summer. Is that sustainable once all the borders are reopened? Yeah, maybe not. But I think this summer is probably going to be, again, a pretty healthy roadside hotel motel environment. But in addition to that, the downtown properties are coming back, and their growth rates are just going to be mind-blowing.
Yeah, and listen, we're ahead of the curve with the vaccinations, it seems. So we're going to be the destination people want to come to. And as far as the rent-a-cars, I will tell you, I had an experience of paying $850 for a rent-a-car, and it was a small rent-a-car. It wasn't like a Maybach or anything. But I needed a rent-a-car. Right? I needed a rent-a-car because I was in Tampa, and I had to go down to whatever. I had to travel 2.5, 3 hours. And the traffic jams were crazy, and the rent-a-cars were crazy. When I was in the rent-a-car line, you could see people looking at me like, "You're getting a rent-a-car?" As they're waiting for their Uber. They're like, "Oh, I wanted a rent-a-car." It's crazy. I rented from Dollar. I've never rented from Dollar, and I rented from Dollar, and the lines were crazy long. It was crazy. In Florida, it is literally they're using camels to get around at this point.
Right. I'm gonna talk about this more on Friday Night Audit tomorrow night, but. It took me, I went to go grab, and we did our special show for the Pierre Hotel on Tuesday. And I went over from Manhattan to Brooklyn to go pick up these pizzas that my kids love. I left the hotel at 2:00. I didn't get home on Long Island till 6:30 p.m. That's how busy the roads are. That's how much New York is coming back. So as angry as I was that it took so long, how great was that? That people are out, they're doing things, they're spending money.
Listen, the restaurant we were in was busy. I mean,
busy.
New York's back, and Chris, I'm glad to see that your numbers are coming back. What is the biggest surprise, Jan, that you've seen in the last, just say, couple of weeks? Is there anything that surprises you?
Before I answer that, let me go back to what you just said, because I think one wild card is still the return to office policies. Are we all going to be Goldman Sachs 5 days, or is it going to be tech, Twitter, work from anywhere? It's going to be somewhere in the middle, but is it going to be 3 days in the office? Is it going to be 2 days in the office? Is it going to be, do we want a lot more square feet per person, to keep a little bit of social distance, or we're just going to cram all back into the old square footage? If you look at office, leases and lease renewals, man, there is a lot of pain for office owners on the horizon, because nobody's quite sure how many square feet they need, going forward. And that then, in my mind, could have a negative impact on business travel, Because, if Anthony sits in his law office on Park Avenue, but he's only there Mondays and Wednesdays, and I want to visit with him and I can't fit that in, I'm just going to be like, you know what, let's just do it on Zoom, versus me knowing you are there all the time.
But isn't that more reason for maybe small meeting spaces in hotels? Because it's like, listen, we don't have a big office anymore in New York City, but we're going to come in and meet you, and now we need a place for 15 people to meet in the city. I would imagine that's going to help the hotels.
I'll buy that argument all day, but there is always WeWork, right? There are these other providers of that. I totally agree with you.
Right. But people that
everybody wants to be in a hotel. Everybody wants the free meals. Everybody wants to have that drink. Listen, a hotel in New York City is better than any WeWork office. I'm sorry.
Ooh. Right. Gonna get the WeWork people angry about that. I like the free beer that I got at WeWork, but I do like hotels. So
if you can answer that question, is anything in the last couple of weeks, the data you're looking at, that's a little surprising?
So we've all hoped for the pent-up demand. We all hoped that spring break would be good, and it's like, oh, guess what? It was really good, But we have the other side of that, the new strains. When you saw the scenes from Miami Beach, with the pepper spray or whatever, it's like, let's just be responsible, man. Before we just say, oh, the pandemic is over, because it turns out it's actually not. So maybe I'm just a little bit surprised that people are not as responsible as they should be. Yeah, travel is all good and well, and I think a lot of states are opening, and that's good. But let's just keep the masks on, to figure out until we really are the worst.
Yeah, and with all due respect, you're a certain age, you've been around a while. You're really surprised that people aren't behaving.
It's spring break. I get it. It's like all bets are off.
Anthony, while you were gone, he showed how he was a little naive. He got taken by a 3-card Monte player.
Yeah, so I was listening.
Category.
Man, when you mentioned that I had a whole flashback. I have a whole PTSD experience from you just mentioning that.
I still think about my pinky diamond ring that disappeared. But Chris, you look like you want to ask a question, or you look like there's something in your brain.
Well, I want to ask Jan. I was on a week ago or 2 weeks ago with the JD Power people, and I wonder, what do you think about the airlines and their ability, when business travel picks up, to add routes fast enough to support the demand as it comes back? Because they're in the same pitch. They want to see the whites of the eyes before they start adding routes. Even booking, I tried to book a flight to Atlanta just yesterday, and everything's almost full. It was surprising.
So the way I think about it is that the airlines have this unique ability, right, to park planes in the desert, take capacity out, put it in Tucson. If you've never seen it between Phoenix and Tucson, it's incredible. Really cool. It's a really incredible sight just off the highway. You have this parking lot of planes. I'm looking at the OAG data, and they're saying, look, even the what's scheduled in 2021 is well below, it's well above 2020, yes, but it's still well below the 2019 levels.
Of course.
And I'm not sure, and this goes back to Anthony's, sort of sermon about yield management, like, why would you, if you're the airline CEO, add all this capacity if you can just say, guess what? It's $400 versus $299, for that seat. So what I could see, and I'm making this up a little bit, but what I could see is that the total cost of travel, which people used to say, oh, I can get a flight for $99. Oh, it's the hotel that's expensive, is flipping, and that the CFOs and the travel managers are saying, oh, wow, yeah, we can get the room, but man, this airfare is expensive. Let's just hold off, because the total cost of travel starts to skyrocket, not because of our fault, because of the airlines are yield managing up. So I'm a little cautious on that. I agree with you.
Yeah. So I'm worried that that's a headwind to the recovery. So.
It certainly could. And so I wrote, I've had these conversations, about everything that goes well and everything that could go wrong for the last, 3 months or so. So if I just sat down and wrote down all the arguments about why things could be great and why things could be bad, and they just published it on Hotel News Now this morning, the bull case and the bear case, for the recovery. And your airline point of view is exactly, I wrote exactly that same thing, so great minds.
It's a problem, and I think it will be an impediment to the recovery a little bit. But isn't it a great conversation to have?
Yeah, right.
And we're not having a conversation of we're 1% and we don't know when we're going to get a vaccine. It just feels good to have these conversations.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it certainly does. One of the other things that we were talking about on that same call that we did with JD Power, and you guys can check that show out from 2 Thursdays ago. Really an exceptional show when we were on location at the Crown Plaza Jacksonville Airport, one of Chris's hotels. Yeah, and they were talking about maybe not adding more flights, but adding larger equipment and replacing some of the smaller planes with that. Is that a first step? Is that likely at all, in your opinion?
I mean, those planes are expensive, so I'm not sure that you can just like go to Target and get
the bigger
one
one from the desert, fly it over to Vegas, and then add that to the route. You know?
Yeah, I mean, sure. I mean, I think that this has to do with load factors, you know, and they certainly have much better visibility going forward. It's sort of scary / encouraging, Chris, to hear you saying, look, I'm trying to get to Atlanta, you know, and Delta flies there, whatever, every hour on the hour, you know, and you just can't get there. You know, that's right. Super interesting. You know, is it because all those planes are the Embraer Air, you know, whatever, sardine boxes, you know, and could they elevate, you know, and move a couple of planes around? Yeah, I think that's definitely part of their yield management strategy.
Yeah. Well, Chris doesn't have that problem. Chris flies private, so we.
No, I do not fly private. Don't even start that rumor.
You're gonna get in a hot water.
One of the things I noticed during the pandemic, you were stressed, but you were kind of a lot lighter. Since you've been the CEO again, and things are starting to open up, you seem very CEO-y.
I do. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be. I'm thinking. I'm thinking. I mean.
When do what my friend do. Don't think. That's the whole secret.
No. Every time I see Jan at a show or something, he'll say something in one of his presentations where I try to grab him after because I want to dig deeper. I love this stuff. I'm constantly thinking about how the whole picture relates to what I do for a living and how it affects my associates and our owners.
I'm obsessed with what Jan does, and it's I can sit and read reports like for my whole life.
Okay,
yeah,
I'm just mad I didn't
for that. There's help for people like you.
I'm just mad I didn't see these before I got on today. These are great. These would have given me a ton of questions. I'm looking at them now, Jan. Good stuff. Especially the bear case.
Yeah.
The bear case is interesting. I'm interested in the whole, you know, that 20% of the adults may not get vaccinated and what that might do to travel.
Then the question is, look, were those people who wouldn't have traveled anyways, right? Question mark. You know, is that possible? I want to ask Chris, I want to ask you, I read Peter Strobel from the president of Omni had a quote in one of the Hotel News Now articles where he said, hey, we're having a really hard time finding people. The unemployment rate is super high, but the people we want for our jobs, they're just hard to find because of all the new hotels and all the reopening hotels. Give me some color on that.
Yeah, so the biggest surprise, it wasn't a surprise because we were hoping for spring break to be great. The biggest surprise was that even though, I mean, at my company, you know, we laid off about a third, well, actually 2/3 of the staff in the field, we had to. When we try to call them back, Jan, because business is ramping up, they're either not there, they've moved into another industry, or they're currently, you know, the government incentives have made it an environment where they're not ready to come back to work yet. So we've struggled. I actually polled 4 of my friends who run other management companies, and during spring break, all of us had to drag rooms. And for those of you that are watching that don't know our business, that means some rooms didn't get cleaned till the next day. We just didn't have staff to get to them. We actually had a case where one hotel, rooms were left over, and we had so much demand, but we couldn't sell the rooms that day. Can you imagine that? We couldn't sell them because they hadn't been. And that's not because we're not good operators. I mean, we're thinking about it. We literally, so we called all of the temp agencies, all of the support, and they had nobody. All of the people that they had were loaned out to Amazon in the market. They had nobody to give us.
That is fascinating. This goes back to Anthony's point earlier. Yeah, you need a sales guy. It's like, yeah, and you need a housekeeper. You know,
that's the ones we can't find. And I think, as a matter of fact, I'm quoted in an article coming out here shortly about this exact thing. I think this is the biggest headwind we're facing, is getting people back and getting people back, because there was a period of time when people were like, our hotel still a thing? I mean, middle of last year, you know, they're like, should I do this for a living anymore?
And Chris, how's that affecting wages?
It's unbelievable. The pressure on wages, unbelievable. Upward pressure.
Yeah, of course. And Chris has got an even deeper problem than he's communicating, because you're not cleaning every room every night. when I stayed with you at that Crown Plaza Jacksonville Airport, you were only cleaning rooms at the end of each stay. So you get people staying several nights on average, right? So it puts a lot more pressure on you to find staff, I assume.
We have hundreds of open positions, and our company is a mid-sized company. We're not that big, so.
Wow, that's really unbelievable. Now, Jan, before we got on air, we were talking about the Hunter Hotel Investment Conference. How excited I am to be going to that on May 10th through 12th. I know Chris is going to be there. I think Anthony's going to be joining us as well. I just heard from the good folks over there. They partnered with Clear. You can find them at clearme.com. My favorite way to get into airports, because it's so easy to get through security. They're doing the Health Pass thing for that. I think that's pretty cool. I'm excited to hear that. Have you thought about how Health Pass and maybe other solutions that are coming into the marketplace will help bring back meetings quicker, therefore helping hotel rooms, helping hoteliers sell more nights? And I should say, a little show note, on April 29th, we're going to have MGM Resorts here to talk about the meetings business, and that is definitely going to be part of the conversation. Jan?
Super hot topic. Definitely the right question. Nobody has an answer. And what I'm hearing just here in Tennessee, right? They're like, hey, let's just forbid it. Let's just outlaw it.
Like
let's
Florida.
Not let anybody, have a vaccination passport. And I'm like, wait a second, if I'm a private enterprise, if I'm running whatever, the arena for the Grizzlies in Memphis or something, I want to be pretty sure, that the people who are coming in here are not sick. I get privacy. I get the word. I'm not sure I totally understand what it means, in terms of having this passport and I'm scanning it and who gets that information. Like all that tech stuff is a little beyond me. But the point here is just to say there's already a massive push against it, and saying, oh, no, this isn't right. Hey, when we flew to Africa, in our younger years, you had to have that yellow book, with you and say, hey, look, yellow fever and all these other shots, and you had to show that, otherwise you couldn't get into the countries. So I'm not sure how this is different. And just to make it digital, I'm not sure how this is different.
It's not any different. My kids have to have certain shots to go to school. So I don't really understand that.
And I don't understand either, because everybody's about, giving businesses the choice of making their own decisions. So if a business is making a choice, they're going to suffer that choice. So if they're going to make vaccine, that you have to show your vaccine card, then they're making a choice that they may lose business. Or they may gain business because people may go to that. So shouldn't it be the business's decision? It's kind of ridiculous that the government can control what a business does or doesn't do for its customers.
Because what's the other option? The other option is just rapid testing, right? And then you have these long lines of people getting a nasal swab or whatever, and you have to wait for 90 minutes.
It's the same thing.
Businesses go out of business or stay in business based on how they treat their customers. So let the customer decide if they want to go to that business or they don't. I respect some people that don't want to get vaccinated. I respect that. I'm never going to judge anyone that doesn't want to get vaccinated. It's not mine to judge. However, if I'm going into a theater with thousands of people and I'm vaccinated, I really don't want to worry about the guy next to me may have COVID, because maybe I can get it and pass it on to somebody else. I now have to put my damn mask back on. It's just like, so I'll choose maybe to go to a theater where you have to show your vaccine card, and you can choose a theater where you don't have to. So I think it should come down to choice. What do you say, Chris? Don't say so politically correct.
Complex issue, very complex.
Oh, you're so PC.
It's the truth. It's complex. I mean, as the head of a travel company, I think about it all the time. What do we do with our associates? What do we do for our guests? How do we protect our frontline team members? How do we represent the travel industry thoughtfully?
It's your choice. It's your choice and your decision.
I agree, but it's those choices are far-reaching. What choices you make, just like any other choice, Anthony. Like I tell my kids, right? Every choice has a reaction to it. Good, sometimes bad. So you have to really be thoughtful about your choices.
And next time you take your boat out, make a choice to invite me and Glenn. I texted him over the weekend, I think last weekend, and he showed me a picture of him on the boat, and I was like, all right, now I'm jealous.
Anthony, you know that saying, a man's favorite boat is his friend's boat, right? So you should just know somebody with a boat.
So Jan, I have a question too about I'm just scanning your article. I love it. About the new the components of the new supply, new and old, like stuff that's already open, but it's already was open, now reopening, and then the stuff that's new supply coming in. And in here it quotes that, or it says that they might be, offering lower rates. There's really no incentive for us to do that right now. There should not be, in my mind, any reason to lower rate. I mean, I know that this is an age-old argument, but rate does not create demand. I mean, the demand is demand, and you can maybe shift it around, but I just think it's just a huge mistake. We're going to you remember how long it took us to recover? I know I'm speaking to the choir, but
I can't wait to hear what he has to say next. Yeah.
So there is this, I think there are still some owners out there whose misperception is that a good hotel is a full hotel. They want to stand in their parking lot at night and look up and see all the lights on, and they're like, yeah, we're killing it, and they're not looking at RevPAR, they're looking at EBITDA, and that. And so you're like, no, guys, running 75% at a higher rate is fine. We don't have to run 95%. It's hard on the housekeepers. It's hard on the check-in lines. It's hard on the F&B staff. We're okay taking some hits on the occupancy side and driving rate that flows straight to the bottom line. That. But I have this distinct sense, that there is still this perception of people saying, look, let's just build the base occupancy and then we tweak the rate wheel, up. Well, and I'm afraid that's going to hurt.
But wait, hold on. Wouldn't it make more sense to charge more for rooms so you sell fewer rooms, because you can't even handle the amount of rooms that Chris is selling right now under certain circumstances? So you might as well make the play to get more money to sell less rooms.
Well, I mean, Glenn, what you're talking about is what we talk as optimal mix of rooms. That's the optimal mix. When the profit outcome is at its very highest peak, whether it's 72 at 200 or whatever you're talking about. Because you can't over occupy a hotel, and you can have crowd and empty, right? Where you have too high of a rate and not enough rooms to support it. So that's where the professionals get involved. But what you're saying is exactly right. All I'm saying is, I've always said you're only as strong in your market as your weakest competitor, and what they think about rate management, because they can drive the market. There was a study after the 08-09 financial crisis in Chicago where a comp set of hotels where there were some really good hotels, and then there was one outlier, and that outlier dumped rate immediately. And even the good hotels, eventually they came down. They had to, because it was pushing the whole market down. I think it took 6 or 8 weeks, but eventually even the good hotels had to follow down.
Right.
Done by Carter Wilson from the analytics team of STR out in
See? I read your stuff all the time. I love
it. We appreciate that. Thank you.
Oh boy. This Love Fest is awesome. But how elastic is the leisure market?
So I think that 2020 was, of course, an anomaly because of Zoom school and because of working from home, which became working from anywhere. So people could just say, let's take a long weekend. Let's start on Thursday. Let's come home on Tuesday, because who cares, right? And with schools back in session, man, that is all going to snap back. You're going to have spring break. You're going to have fall break. You're going to have regular office hours, so to speak, for schools. And that, I think, is going to curtail that window that in 2020 was just the year of travel. You could just go whenever because nobody checked on you, and you were just online the whole time. I think that's going to, snap back. So I think the leisure travelers are going to adhere more to that school schedule, which means that the traditional, vacation destinations in those vacation weeks will be able to yield up, hopefully.
Right. That's an interesting way of looking at it. Chris, you think that the same thing is going to happen? Because honestly, on all these hoteliers that I speak with, they're like, people may take business travel, but it's leisure. If we're all getting back to our pre-COVID lifestyles, then that's gotta change, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is just my Chris Green's opinion, but I'm seeing things going back into conformity of how they used to be. And I think the further we go along, we're going to get closer and closer to how we used to be, where you can't just not show up at work on Monday. I mean, you may be flexible to do a Zoom meeting or whatever, but it's not the same. It's not going to be the same. Demand is going to go back up. Pressure on performance is going to go back up. We're going to need my corporate team is busy as can be right now with new openings and new transitions and re-ramping hotels. I mean, they're busy. So I think we're going to get back into the normal way of things, and soon we'll forget some of these things we thought were going to be new trends. I totally agree with you. I agree with Jan about technology. This has got to happen. It's just, I actually like reading the menus on my phone, on my mobile device. What do I need a paper menu for? Why? I don't.
Because we were saying yesterday because we can't see them and they're not they're not as easy.
They're like 9-point fonts, and we're
I
all
like it.
Look, 3 of us.
I got 14.5 eyes at this age.
Okay,
Exactly.
I'm an operator, so I no more menu cost. I love it, but okay.
Chris,
Anthony, did you freeze again? No, there you are. All right.
No, I'm just trying to be quiet for a second more than that. Chris said something about pressure on performance, and I think that that's going to really be what's going to get people back in the office, because you really can't judge. Like, if you're going for a vice president job or general manager job or an executive job, I really need to see people. Like, how do you promote people when everybody's in their own little silo, and you really can't? Yes, you can judge them based on their work performance, on getting reports done, but really how they interact with people, how they build teams. So I think that's just going to be a necessity. I want to be around people to really see who should get promoted over who, as opposed to, who shows up to a meeting on time and says the right thing. Like, how you deal with inter-office politics and managing hotels is a big deal. So I don't know. I think pressure on performance is going to, what's that?
This is great. It's the journal, but it was like a 4-page study on the goods and the bads of the hybrid workplace. I thought it was very well done, and I kept it because a lot of really salient points about what leaders need to think about all the cost savings or the usability or information transfer, but the lack of cohesiveness of the team and the lack of, we're a culture company. You guys know that. So how do you drive culture over Zoom? That's very difficult.
It's very, very hard.
Yeah, I'm done. I can't do it anymore. Like, I want to be around people. I am so, it's difficult. Even a couple of projects I'm working on, it's just everybody's so busy doing different things. It's just so hard to bring everybody together.
You just want to hug people, right? Just sort of out there and say, I'm here, I'm back.
Yeah, you know what? I see Glenn, I hug him, but I'm really tired of hugging Glenn.
I wonder what's going to happen at Hunter. Like, that's going to be the first time I'm going to see all my friends, all of my peers. That's going to be, and it's going to be like Glenn and I did, like, okay, what's Jan's protocol compared to, my friend Brad or whatever. Do we, it's going to be a very, very strange experience, I think.
Can I make a prediction? Can I make a prediction?
Yes.
My prediction is if you're going there, you're just going to go and you're just going to be involved. And I think the person that's there with the mask and standing 8 feet away from each other, I think they're going to be the oddball out. Whereas like 6 weeks ago, I would have thought that was the opposite.
Well, go ahead, Jan.
Disagree. People will wear masks. I think it's going to be mandated by the hotel, the cocktail. They're going to wear masks. Yes, they're going to have a drink, but I think there's still going to be, when you're that close. We just got trained for 1 year to wear this thing, and I think we're not going to be 8 feet apart. I give you that. It's really hard to yell through the mask.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
A lot of masks.
That's not what I'm saying. People are going to wear masks because it's going to be mandated by the hotel in public spaces. But when you're in a bar talking to your friend, you're going to have a drink. You're not going to have a mask on. And so if I see you, Jan, and we're having a drink at the bar, I'm not going to have my mask on as I'm drinking. It's impossible. And I'm going to drink, so I'm going to know that I'm going to have a drink. I'm going to have a drink with you. So of course you're going to see masks, but I just think people are going to be, once they're in their little group, they're going to be in their little group. And also, if you want to feel safe, get vaccinated.
Also, the conference is really going to be made of pioneers, the first people that really want to get back into it. It's a self-selecting group, people that are more bold, people that are more ready to get out there and do it. Plus, I just got breaking news. I heard they're changing the name from the Hunter Conference to the Hugger Conference, so we can all understand what the protocol is going to be going forward. So I'm looking forward to that.
And how are their numbers? Do we know how their numbers are, Glenn? Are they getting good numbers?
I have no idea. I haven't even asked. I'm just so enthusiastic about the opportunity to go.
I bet you they're getting good numbers.
I think so too. Yeah.
It's fine, good. It's like, it's better than last year. Yes. It's not going to be, I don't think it's going to be 2019. But I agree with you. I mean, it's going to be multiple hundreds of people,
Yep, for sure. All right, so as we start to wind down our hour here, how about some final thoughts that usually prompt another couple of minutes of conversation? Chris, what are you taking away from everything right now compared to maybe how you were feeling when I saw you 2 weeks ago? Oh, wait, hold on one second. Del Ross says, just heard from Hunter. Numbers are looking good. That's excellent. Excellent news. Chris?
Oh, that's awesome. What am I taking away from the last couple of weeks? I mean, I'm focused on people. I mean, really, we're spending a lot of time recruiting, reminding people why it's a great industry, why you need to be in it, and why now, if you want a great career. Listen, if you're 27 or 28 and you're a front office manager and you want to be a GM, you better not leave, because now there's going to be a ton of GM opportunities. I mean, you're going to be able to roller skate to the top if you're good and aggressive and smart. So I'm thinking about people and how we can fill the needs, really.
Yeah, we were saying that there a couple of weeks ago, that if you're in now, you're a young person coming in, like you said, you're going to push Chris Green out of his job in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, well, they're coming after you, Chris. They're coming
That's
after
fine.
you.
I love it. Come get it.
All right, Chris has got to go. He has got CEO duties to do. Mr. Businessman over there. We'll see you hopefully real soon, Chris. Take care.
See you later. All right.
Bye.
Thanks, Chris.
I'll call you
Jan,
later, Chris.
talk to us. Tell us what you're seeing overall, the words of wisdom from you, CoStar, and all that good stuff with data presented by STR.
Life's good. It's going to get better. 2 shots in the arm plus 2 weeks. Going to get a lot of people comfortable going back out there, seeing people they haven't seen in over a year. Going to see sustained leisure demand. It's going to get CEOs more comfortable. They're going to have their head of HR on this shoulder saying, we've got to build culture. We've got to get people out. They're going to have their CFO on this shoulder saying, whoa. We saved $1 trillion last year and we were pretty effective. Let's just stay on Zoom. The truth is somewhere in the middle. We're going to see corporate transient come out, and then I thought Chris said it best, Labor Day plus 1 day, we're going to see group demand coming back. I'm very happy to hear that you can't get a wedding on a Saturday in one of his major hotels. That's great to know. Atlantic City's on fire. That's great to know. Super concerning about the staffing issue that he mentioned. That's really, really, really important to keep an eye out, that he can sell the room, but not clean the room, and therefore may not be able to sell the room. That is really, really, really a big deal.
I think we're at emergency. I think it's an emergency right now. That's what everybody's telling me.
Yeah. So that's really, really scary to think about.
Yeah, fascinating. Anthony, any more observations before we let Jan go?
No, thank you very much for coming on, and curious to see what it looks like at the end of the summer and see what those numbers were like. So, and I will be calling you as soon as this is over, because I got to ask you a question. All
right, Jan, before you go, I mean, I really enjoy this conversation so much. You've earned a second plug. This one's official. Anything you want to share?
CoStar.com now has access to the single best hospitality data in the commercial real estate industry. Come check us out if you're a client. It's already all there. It started 8 days ago, or just call your regular STR account manager. We're always here to help.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for being here, Jan. I hope to see you soon on the road so we can be normal human beings. Take care. Thank you so much. Wow, that was super encouraging, but super surprising. What Chris is going through, that they could sell the rooms, but they can't sell the rooms.
No, it's an emergency. It's not just Chris. It's the emergency throughout the entire industry.
Yeah.
And I apologize for my technical issues today, but I'm back. But yeah, it's I don't think it's a Chris Green problem. It is
it's an everyone problem.
I think it's an emergency. I really think it's an emergency. I think it's going to get worse before it gets better.
Yeah, I'd be interested. I think we got to get Chip Rogers, the CEO of the AHLA, back on to talk about what this crisis means for the next step of the industry. Because who would have thought things would be returning back to normal, but now completely out of nowhere, we can't staff our properties in order to maximize opportunities.
It's really where the brand can show a difference, right? If the brand can really come together and really do some great job fairs and really recruit people for their hotels. Even if they're not managing the hotels. I mean, I think it's the brand's responsibility to really, that's really where a brand can show value.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a great point. And we're going to continue to bring more job fairs here to help get the word out and get these hotels back up to the speed they can. All right. Thank you, everybody. Be sure to get the Adapters book. Come on. I put a whole year of effort into it. The least you can do is go to Amazon and click on the link and buy that thing. Check out the little buy now button. It's pretty easy. Also go to theadapters.net. Check out all the great content over there. Anthony, I know I'm excited because I've got my Ecotech waste baskets over here, which I know I love, and I want all of you to reach out to them. Remember, 10% off your purchase when you mention No Vacancy Live. Check them out at eco-techwaste.com. All right, Anthony.
We need a jingle. We need a jingle for Ecotech baskets.
Oh,
all right,
do?
Somebody write us a jingle and send it to us, and Glenn will sing it.
Ecotech.
No. No, don't ever do that again, Glenn. Don't ever do that again.
All right, I won't do that again. All right, everybody, thanks so much for being here. What a great show today. We will see you next week. Don't forget to tune into Friday Night Audit tomorrow night at 5 o'clock. But the incredible Sarah Danjee is coming in, and we are going to be drinking wines, which I got right here. Can't wait to do that with everybody. So remember, you got one life, so blaze on and
be kind to yourself.
See y'all next week. We love you.